You're listening to The Real Estate Ride. Make sure to subscribe and enjoy the show.
If you plan it, then things can happen. And some stuff can happen today, and some stuff can happen months from now, weeks from now, years from now. It's just a matter of what you want to do. And I know that I spoke yesterday briefly about, my uncle retired on a Wednesday in last August, and he was dead the following Saturday. So time is key. And the older I get, the more that comes to the forefront. And I'm just tired of wasting time on things that don't really mean anything to me. And Jay and I have been really having that conversation lately. A lot of times we talk about the vision being something that seems kind of far-fetched, or, your grandiose idea of what you want your life to look like ultimately. And sometimes if you really kind of break things down and look at them individually, then you can figure out that some of this stuff is very doable now, which we talked briefly about yesterday as well. And just making some of the things happen, which is why we use the calendar as part of this vision work that we do, to kind of just put the important things on that we can make happen now. Now, honestly, we want to travel a lot, and, trips to Europe and trips to the islands and different things. And all of that is doable if you plan it, but there are things that you can do on the daily that could potentially be on your vision as well. Or steps to get you to where you want to be could be done daily, so that you can hit the bigger items. So Jay talked about, and please forgive me because we've had 3 calls now today and I don't remember what calls were on what topic. But we talked on one of the calls about how Jay has always, and I think it was this morning actually, how he wanted a boat. When we moved to Florida, he wants a house on the water and he wants a boat. And we always thought, we had to own the boat for a long time anyway. We had to own, so which means you have to own a truck, which means you have to store the boat when you're not in Florida, potentially, so that it doesn't get hit by hurricanes. Yeah. And taken out to sea. And you have to, which means dry docking it potentially, or making sure that it's connected to the dock if you have a dock out back, which is what Jay's ultimate goal is, I believe. But, now that we look at things differently, we can rent a boat. We can be part of a boat club, which is a thing in Florida, which is not a thing in Ohio, but it is a thing in Florida. So, different things can be done to achieve those goals when you think outside of the typical scenario. So you don't have to own a truck. You don't have to own a boat slip or a boat dock. You don't have to have a trailer for the boat. You don't even have to own a boat and upkeep the boat and make sure that it's good to go. You can participate in boat rentals, and you can rent them literally every day of the week if you wanted to. So that is a way of achieving that boat ownership without actually owning the boat and having the boat to deal with when you don't really want to technically own a boat. Another thing, and our kids kind of laughed at this because, we live well with, let me restart that. We live a certain lifestyle, right? And our children have been used to that lifestyle for quite some time. And we've always flown commercial. If we fly at all, we've always flown commercial. But I started recently, and by recently, I think the past year or so, thinking along the same lines, like, okay, so if there's boat clubs, there has to be airplane clubs, right? There has to be this airplane availability, because we're now part of masterminds that have members that are part of these airplane clubs that I'm talking about. So the more I talk to these people in our mastermind, and the more that I get information, I'm like, this is something that could potentially be doable if you have, if it's right, if the price is right or what have you. So, instead of owning your personal airplane, because time is of the essence, we only have a certain amount of time, and airplanes are big in my side of the family. My My uncle owns several. My other uncle owns several. They all have their pilot's license. My cousins have their pilot's license. My grandfather owned a plane and had his pilot's license. So owning planes is not abnormal for my side of the family, but um that's nothing that I've ever wanted to do until recently. And now I'm like, well, I would like to own a plane, but do I necessarily have to own the plane so that I can just go wherever I want to go, whenever I want to go, kind of thing? And so I'm starting to research those airplane clubs, and our kids are like, I can't even believe that we're talking about potentially flying on a private jet somewhere instead of flying commercial. So there are options. It's just dependent upon what's the priority and what you want, what you want your life to look like and what you want to be able to do. And that sounds real bougie to say that I want to be able to fly on my own plane. But when you think about it, it's a heck of a lot easier to go to an airport that's 30 minutes, or I mean, 10 minutes from your house than it is 30 or 40 minutes from your house, and get on a plane that seats 7 or 8 comfortably and without problem, to not to deal with TSA and deal with all of the passengers in line and deal with all of the chaos of getting to the airport 2 hours ahead of time. You can show up 30 minutes ahead of time, throw your stuff in the plane and go. So that's something that, as our life has progressed and how things have changed for us, that you start looking at things differently and looking at things more accommodating to you or to your family than to really anybody else. And that kind of sounds not narcissistic, but selfish in a way. But when you think about it in a different context, it's allowing you to have time to do what you want to do with your family and or with your significant other or your business partners or what have you. And time is, like I said, time is the most precious commodity and the ultimate thing that we're after collectively, I feel like. So if you plan it, then things can happen, and some stuff can happen today and some stuff can happen months from now, weeks from now, years from now. It's just a matter of what you want to do. And I know that I spoke yesterday briefly about, my uncle retired on a Wednesday in last August, and he was dead the following Saturday. So time is key. And the older I get, the more that comes to the forefront. And I'm just tired of wasting time on things that don't really mean anything to me. And Jay and I have been really having that conversation lately, quite a lot more than what we have been in the past. So the vision and the exercises that we've talked about in the past 3 days and now today are really key for making things happen in a more timely manner to get to the lifestyle that you want to live, regardless of what position you're in now.
When we said we want to move to Florida, everybody up north is like, oh, you're going to hate it there in the summer. You're going to hate it. I was like, okay, well, maybe they're right. So instead of just buying a house in Florida and moving there, why don't we get one early? This is when we got the first Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we get one early that we can rent out and let's go stay there in the summer? Everybody says we'll hate the summers.
Right. It'll be too hot.
So we went for 5 weeks. Not the first year, but we built up to that. That was our goal. That was on our vision. Right. It was 5 weeks. But we had to start with 1 week. And then we did 2 weeks. And then I think we jumped to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then we went to 5 weeks.
Yep.
And that's in a row, 5 weeks straight. And I was training for Ironman races. So I'm right here close to the water so I can swim in the Gulf. There's bike trails everywhere.
Right.
Running trails everywhere. There's parks everywhere. And I spent half of the summer here and I absolutely loved it. Yep. I love it. It's hotter than heck. I just eat that right up. I'll go right outside when it's 103 and go run for a couple hours. but not everyone's crazy like me.
No, and I am not as well.
So maybe that's not your flavor, but I had to know, that was a way for us to ease into the vision um, in a way that we just didn't jump in and do it. Like that was a waypoint. Okay. So you may have some big goals that you wrote down, and hopefully you can share those today. And we can figure out, is there a waypoint, or is there a way for you to start doing some or part of that now?
Right.
Right. Like we did for the property that we picked up here in Florida. So I'm curious to hear, like, what did you guys come up with? And was there a big item that almost seems impossible that you wrote down?
I'll go ahead and start. I didn't get through my whole list as far as my wheel, but I did sit down and have a few introspective moments about, some of the bigger things. Um, one of the things that Leslie and I are talking about doing, she has interest in, like coin operated laundromats, or, or as a revenue stream.
Sure.
Well, I wanted to start trying to allocate some time every week where we just go through the state and look at where they all are, and then start doing a deep dive on who owns them with the real estate, and start trying to, generate a campaign to do some marketing for those, to try to pick up a cash flowing business somebody's ready to retire from. Then I could use my note education to turn that into a couple of notes for them so that they have income, and also the possibility to potentially cash out or sell a partial on those notes to get some cash, and then still have back end money for heirs. Solve some of their problems and help add cash flow to us, because Leslie loves her job until it drives her up the wall, and she loves it way more days than she dislikes it. But the thought with that is, it's good to be able to do it, but when you're ready to walk away, it's good to know you can.
Right.
Yeah.
That was
great. Look at
yeah. And I was kind of thinking about maybe turning that into like a Saturday thing, like in the morning, just hook the laptop up to the screen, the big TV, and just sit and have breakfast and spend an hour just farming data and looking at geographical areas and figuring out, socioeconomics to some of these pockets.
Right.
And attack that, because it's why not, right?
Right.
I also I revisited my goal to lose weight, because I have this goal to drop another 90 pounds, give or take. And I was, I try to be aggressive with it, but then it's not sustainable. So I figured I was going to set a goal to try to lose 10 pounds every 60 days, or,
Okay.
I can get to it.
Yeah.
Slow and healthy, responsibly, instead of ridiculous. And just as the weight comes off, and, I have time and more energy, just up the workouts, there was a time, before I had my pulmonary embolism, where I would go work out every day consistently. I didn't miss a day for about 18 months. And my workout was 2 hours and my average was 3 hours.
Awesome.
So, I mean, I'd get a lot done, and I was still a big guy. I never dropped all the weight. I'm doing better now at that than I was then. Of course, I was still eating like a, black hole, so
Right.
I've gained some ground with my nutrition and my consumption. And I honestly think, I think I could hit that. That's about 1.25 pounds a week.
Yeah.
Well, I figured that's responsible, obtainable. And if I get close, great. If I surpass it, great. But as long as I'm consistent with it, I'll get there.
Yeah.
So for me, that kind of just popped into my head. 10 pounds in 60 days is still aggressive. And if you get close over 2 years, I'll still hit my goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't knock the attempt. And also, Will and I around the office here, we've been having a lot more conversations about cash flow, You know, he got divorced last year, and
Mhm.
he got another house. The day he had to vacate his previous house, he signed the paperwork and occupied his new seller financed to him house.
Nice.
It was beautiful. But I'm like,
It's a beautiful thing.
you're in, you've got some of the work done you wanted, you're living there. I'm like, we need to go ahead and get another one and start doing some short-term rentals out of it. Trying to target something within 5 to 7 minutes of hospitals, you know, thinking travel nurses.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a
Heck
good
yeah.
one.
You know, that if we could, or when we pair that up with taking them down with seller financing, it's a win all the way around. So, but those two things, we wanted to try to pick up a couple of properties a year just for short-term rental or the stays. I figure I set the goal small at 2 this year, and if we can hit that, or when we hit that next year, we're to get 3 or 4.
Heck yeah.
That's awesome.
That's good. I like the health goal that you set. It has a measurable goal, and it's going to be achieved by walking and doing yoga and whatever other exercise programs you include in there. But
Got my replacement cables ordered for my workout center.
oh, good.
Nice.
Good. And more importantly, you have coupled that with nutrition changes that you're sticking to. And so the two combined is fantastic, and it really will accelerate your progress.
Oh yeah.
And you may be surprised if you're doing all that. You may be surprised at how easily you achieve the 10 pounds every 60 days.
That won't break my heart.
You won't mind if it happened to be 15, right?
Yeah, 15, 12, 10 full flat.
Whatever. So, you know, at first it'll come off quicker, and then it'll start to taper down some too. So did you guys come up with action steps yet to do your additional property acquisitions?
Not a full-blown plan.
Okay.
We were more kind of wanting to focus first on making a definitive decision as far as exactly what strategy we were going to use. So I think with number of hospitals here, and with, you know, the university being a major teaching hospital for the medical industry,
Yeah.
we had several satellites. So some of those pockets are great, and some of them are kind of middle of the road. So it offers us a couple of different opportunities as far as a better quality property versus a more mid-range property, but we can still make the cash flow we want with both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love the.
I mean, one thing I know for sure, you know, my goal is 20 years owner, you know, lots of equity, because that really puts them in my wheelhouse to be creative and show them how to make the money. Because if I've got to pay, you know, 7%, why not pay it to an individual?
Right.
And then just tell them, you know, hey, why don't we just do something variable that tracks with prime? If it goes to 12, I'll pay 12. But when it goes to 4, I'll pay 4.
Yep.
Yeah. You know it.
That's a good idea.
Love that.
Yeah. Because I love paying down principal, but also I know that you give them what they want in interest. A lot of times people are just happy, even if it's not a lot. You know, if you can give somebody 3%, and for years they haven't been able to make that in the market.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's been quite
Yeah, that's great.
market wise. Yeah. I like that a lot.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Anybody else want to go over what they've got?
Well, I can tell you guys that I was not able to catch up from yesterday, so I am at least a day behind right now on my to-do list, so I don't have much to add today.
Okay.
Okay.
You're a busy man, Matt.
Well, taking on a new role has hindered my ability to function as I used to.
I get that.
What new role is that, Matt?
I took on a senior buyer.
That's what I was going to ask if it was that buyer.
Yeah, I started that yesterday. So yesterday was totally gone. I was here until almost 7, getting that. And then and I'll be here today, and then I'll probably catch up on the weekend. I have a feeling, just because I've got a lot to get accomplished here while I'm ramping this up.
Yeah. Well, it's a new position, right? Or have they had buyers before? Or is it just a new position for you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they've had people doing this before. It's just that the people they had doing it before didn't really have the needed experience to do what they actually want.
Yeah.
Are you buying for a hedge fund?
It's a local fund. It's not as big as a hedge fund.
Oh, I got
And it's he's been selling turnkey rentals since 2002. And so he's been around quite some time. They do about 100 to 120 a year.
Oh, nice.
And need somebody to come in and acquire the properties at the right price.
They need
Is
a
it-
pro negotiator.
That's what I was just going to say. Is it somebody we're familiar with or no? Because not that I might just be a nibby. Not that it matters.
No, Mark Delatour.
Oh, I've heard that name before.
I don't know him.
I would imagine he's in Collective Genius.
Yeah.
He's in a couple of groups.
Okay.
He's SBD Housing is the
Yep.
company.
I have heard of that.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought that name sounded familiar from Collective Genius.
That's cool, man.
That's awesome, Mel.
He's a good guy. I like him, so I thought I wanted to get out of retirement. That's seemed like a fairly good synergy. So
Nice.
Yeah, and he may work a deal for you if you find something that you want.
yeah, well, we had that conversation. So there's
I figured you did.
synergy there.
I figured you did. I mean, that's what pro negotiators do.
Coming out of my retirement.
Gotta make sure that you can continue to build your asset group.
That's right. Cool, man. You got any fitness challenges this year?
Not really. I started working out again. I started my mornings yesterday. So I'm on day 2 of my miracle morning routine again, which is good to knock that out. And other than just seeing the scale change, that's about it. I get my weight back down to around the 240 mark. So I got about 15, 16 pounds I need to drop, but I figure I can have it done by summer.
Heck yeah. Cool.
Heck yeah, man.
I am trying a new nutritional program that I acquired, and I'm doing February without the nutritional program, and then I'll do it in March. I'll start the nutritional program in March, and I'm going to compare month over month results to see if the program actually works or not, because I don't know if it will work.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
I might have an answer depending.
So, one of the retired vets that I've used to do little contracting stuff is a buddy of mine lives not too far from my office.
Yep.
And he's got a house and they're flipping the house next door. And he just wanted to know who bought it, because the little lady that was renting it was real sweet and he hated she left. And I looked into this thing, and it's a company, New York.
Right.
Yeah. Park Avenue kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I pulled it up on PropStream, looked at the house, and it's pooled with like 5,400 other houses that this
Oh, wow.
hedge fund or organization owns.
Sounds like, yeah.
So here's a question for you. They've got 5,400 plus houses in this portfolio or this fund or whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
The estimated value is something like $640 million, $690 million, something like that.
Wow.
So, on PropStream, you can look at linked properties and it'll show you how much debt they have, how much negative equity.
Mm-hmm.
On this less than $1 billion in properties, they have $69 billion in loans associated with it.
Are you kidding?
I wish I was, because it makes the whole system seem like a big frickin' Ponzi where you just gotta
Right?
lie big enough and eventually it's too scary for anybody to ask. But
That's crazy to think of that.
right. Have you ever run into anything like that? That's 1,000 times multiplier.
Right? I have not.
I haven't either.
I don't even know how that would be possible.
It's funky.
Yeah, that makes 0 sense to me.
Unless they all have like first mortgages and second mortgages. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything's mortgaged to the hilt. I don't understand how that would even be. Wow.
It gives the average property value, like, was it 1.4 or $14 million, something like that. And this is the one they're flipping next to my buddy's house is a little, like a 2.1, 2.2.
Well, the only other thing that I could think of is if that's just like there's more properties that they're showing debt on than they're actually showing in that particular part of their portfolio.
Okay.
But that would be the only way that it would make sense, is what I'm thinking, is that there has to be some other debt that they've included, like maybe the collateral that they put up to buy that package.
Okay.
But it still sounds funky to me.
Yeah, I don't.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but
Or how that would make sense to me.
Yeah. I haven't looked through all the properties, in the list, but I was thinking, maybe some of them are extremely large commercial or industrial with some high,
yeah. Oh, that's the other thing. I mean, that's a good point. Maybe it's in a portfolio or a package that includes some kind of industrial or warehouse or
like maybe
commercial type building too.
Gigafactories or something.
Yeah, something. That would be the only way that it had, that many billion of dollars worth of. I mean, that's with a B, right? Yeah, that's the only way I can think of, is if some kind of commercial property is put up for collateral, or if it's tied in somehow with their whole package of what they own.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting though.
Do that a lot of skills.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, Matt, that they just packaged them all together.
I'm looking at CoStar, and when I'm reviewing multifamily assets and whatnot, you'll see $1 billion worth of real estate, and then usually the asset itself might not, only has a percentage of that $1 billion in debt. So a lot of times you can find out what the actual asset has a debt against that particular asset, and sometimes you can't. Sometimes you have to delve deeper with the actual owner to see what they would have to, what percentage of that sale would have to, how much they'd have to recoup to pay off that debt.
Yeah. That's probably exactly what it is then, some kind of commercial property that they got ballooned in with it or something.
You know what? I just had a thought. I may know what this is.
Oh yeah.
Last year, I was on one of the classes with Eddie. He was talking about how nobody learned from the '08 market crash
Yeah.
because those guys got into buying and packaging all that bad debt.
Yep.
And he was talking about how now there are these hedge funds that are looking for new asset, and they are going to these large rental portfolio owners and buying futures. They are paying as out, which probably could be done with debt, and then they just have to make it back in rents.
Huh. Interesting.
I don't know.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing that would make any kind of sense to me, I would think, is either commercial properties tied in somehow or just the debt off of stuff for futures, like you said. I didn't think about that until you said that, but
They're such a convoluted equation.
right? Exactly. And hedge fund, I mean, if it is purchased by a hedge fund or some big conglomerate of real estate people out of New York, then that would make sense.
Oh yeah, on Park Avenue, no less.
Oh, yeah, it has to be. I wonder if Trump's related in there somewhere.
Never know.
I'm sure you'd have to dig through 20 LLCs to.
I do, at least, yeah.
Yep.
All right. Go ahead, Jay. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say, is Bonnie available now?
I don't know. I know she's still working for us, even though it's after 5 o'clock.
It's not allowed.
Anyway. So,
I am off the phone now.
there you go. Do you want to talk about any of the stuff, or did you pretty much talk about everything that you wanted to yesterday that you had done? I didn't know.
I think we pretty much covered everything yesterday that I had written down. I didn't get to the calendar exercise last night, so
Sure, you're good.
I'm a day behind now. But
You're in a good club. Don't worry
All
about it.
right, that's what I was just gonna say. You're in a club, Bonnie.
that's good. I like the club.
But I mean, it just goes to show that everybody, no matter how open you think your schedule is, sometimes it's not as open as you legitimately think.
Amen.
Oh, I keep hitting my mute and unmute, and I didn't know you couldn't hear me. I kept trying to talk.
Now we can hear you.
Phone, and I had my headset muted, so I thought I was unmuting, and I kept trying to talk, but nobody could hear me. Oh, God love me. Oh,
It's all right. It's almost Friday.
yeah, it is. So yeah, well, we've just kind of our history has been to try to increase, couple hundred every year is our goal. Don't know that we've always made it every year, but that's kind of our goal, and wanting to add several before we get to retirement. So I know the goal is at least 6, and we want one in Florida, and
Yep.
we're in process for the one at the lake right now.
Nice.
And sometimes I feel a little discouraged, like I'm not making enough money when I have coworkers making almost as what I make in a year in a month.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I've got to figure out how to step up the game. But I'm okay. I don't have to make 80,000 a month, and I'm okay with less.
Right. But and that's a good point. You know what I mean? When you have coworkers, like you said, making more money than you do potentially in a year, potentially. But
I mean, I make more than that here with rentals and real estate, but at the same time, just in 1 month, it's like, gosh, it kind of makes me, like, oh, Furman always says, think bigger, or not Furman, Jerry,
yeah.
think big. And that's where I'm like, okay, I was thinking 50 was big, and, trying to go from there. But,
Yeah.
it's taking one day at a time, I guess.
Right. And everybody's different, right? So, I mean, like you said, you thinking 50 is big, which is great, but other people think 150 or 200 is big. So it just depends on what kind of lifestyle you want to lead and what your goals are and what, what you want out of life. And by no means am I saying that you need to live like a 200 or $300,000 lifestyle if that's not what you want, but
Right.
getting it in focus is really more important than anything else. So then you can say, okay, yeah, I'm fine with this $50,000 a year, or I would like to kind of go big and double that, or whatever the case may be. So
Well, yeah, I would like to have the
Mhm.
50,000, and that's one of the things that I've been thinking about, how I can get to that. And, one of my other clients, he talks about having a plane. So you guys were talking about that, and I was chiming in, but you didn't hear me apparently. And so, he wants to have his pilot license and his own plane, and that's his goal. And I'm thinking, oh my, it's
Right.
just a variation of how different people think about things. And
absolutely.
um, how many businesses can I get going to think like this? And I've already got another business in mind, and I have real estate and then rental. So, and I've got a third one in mind that I'm wanting to, but that's going to take an investment and some planning and work.
Yep.
And yeah, I would like to get that because it's an app, and
Oh.
I would like to get that moving. But
Nice.
I also have a 4 unit that burnt that I don't have finished yet.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that for you.
Yes. So those are some of the things that, this year will entail, but it's good to have it in the forefront to think about next year. And like I said, like health, using some of the things that I have, and getting in a routine
Yes.
of doing things every day and putting it on my calendar.
Right.
And I liked Jay's thought process of stacking.
Yeah.
So, because my love language is quality time, and
Yes, mine too.
that's that's important to me to do things. And
Yep.
um,
Absolutely.
and my kids are like, yeah, we were talking. We don't want to be like mom work all the time. And so, I'm thinking I keep telling myself I have like 1 or 2 more years of pushing, but
Right.
maybe I just need to change how I'm pushing.
Yeah, and I mean that's true. Jay and I had that same conversation, and we talked a little bit about it yesterday. There is a definite hustle period, but that hustle period doesn't mean that you have to hustle from the time you get up till the time you go to bed either. So you can hustle in key points and in key times during the day to make shit happen, and sometimes it's even more productive when you have a smaller amount of time to get things done because you're more focused and able to knock a bunch of stuff out.
Right? Yep. I feel like I'm like that too. So those are some of the things that I want to work on putting on my calendar tonight, and discussing with you guys more in detail tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to kind of sitting down and doing that with the sheet that I already have in place, and
Cool.
kind of putting it together and actually putting it on the calendar. So,
Nice.
and we have set vacation goals,
Nice.
set vacation goals, and some of them are like one workcation a year, and one vacation a year with family, and then obviously one with us together too. And if family doesn't come, that's fine, but at least have option if they
Absolutely.
can come.
Yep.
So those are, and I think we kind of did do that last year. We went to Salt Fork, and most of the grandkids came, 7 out of 10, and
That's good. That's quite a few.
all but one of our biological children came. My youngest one didn't come, but she had other things, and that's okay. But I see her all the time, so I didn't feel like I didn't get to see her.
Yeah.
And it was good. So,
Awesome.
and we're going to Hawaii this year, and I've got
Like,
that
yeah.
booked, but I don't have anything else planned. I just booked a flight.
Right. Go on.
That's all right.
Steve's 60th birthday, so. And then the other thing that we talked about was having a big party for our 5th anniversary because not all of his family, much of his family attended. So we talked about that this year too.
Nice. I'm sorry, my ears are itchy like I've had headphones in all day and I haven't had any headphones in today.
So
Well, that's great, Amber. Just a little bug in your ear. We do have some coaching members that have timeshares all over the world.
oh really?
And yeah, so I can check up with them if you want and see if they have anything that they could get for you.
Okay.
Whatever week you're gonna go.
September 1st through the 17th.
Okay.
So
Oh, good. You're going for 2 weeks.
fly into the Big Island on the 1st.
Yep.
And then go to every island and then leave from Honolulu.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
I was going to ask you what island you were going to, but you're going to every one, huh?
4 of them.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's my goal. I mean, even if we stay on Kauai for 2 or 3 days, and big deal.
Right.
So I want him to at least have the feel of what it's like to be on Kauai. Don't you? Have you been there?
Jay and I went with the kids and his mom and dad, like 6 years ago, Jay, I think?
Something like that. Yeah, it was
Or no, we turned 18 when we were there. So yeah.
18th birthday.
Yeah. We went to Maui and then we went to Oahu. And
I love
they love it. Yeah. And I love Maui.
Maui's my favorite.
Mine too.
So this will be my 3rd trip.
Nice.
If you guys like to camp, Annie doesn't, but like to camp, you can get a permit there to camp at a campsite for like $50 for a whole week.
What?
Yeah, you have to apply now. But yeah, they have campsites right on the water, like right on the beach. You can just camp right on the beach. On
That
Maui.
doesn't sound exciting to me.
Right. Me neither.
It sounds awesome to me, but it didn't to Annie either.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's pretty cool. Just for the experience. Even if it's like it sucks in paradise.
Well, right. And I mean, for the experience, I guess it would be okay, but I'm not a camping person. I mean, I'm a glamping person, but I'm not a camping. So
They did have bathrooms.
That's a huge plus.
bonus, yes.
And I think they at least a shower for the guys and a shower for the girl.
So you're good. You're totally good. Get some hammocks between a couple of palm trees and top off the coconut and drop a couple fingers of coconut rum and
There you go.
listen to the universe.
But it's a good example as like people think, oh, I have to have $20,000 to vacation in Hawaii. No, you don't.
Wow.
No, you don't. Like you can camp and it's $50 for the whole week.
No, really, I do.
That's crazy. That is crazy. I would have never considered that.
Right, me neither. What were you saying, Matt?
And that is not an all-inclusive, and I am not involved.
Not the way we want to go.
That's the other side of the spectrum, man. That I like those too. Those are great as well.
That's like my only spectrum. It's not all-inclusive. I'm spending more brain.
There you are. I had a call coming in and it shuts off our communication. So
Times.
yeah, but I'm excited, and I mean, I can't wait to finish out things and do the paperwork for the rest of it tonight because I think it'll be exciting.
Yeah, I think it will be too, and eye-opening at the same time, or at least that's how I feel all the time. I feel excited and energized, and kind of like my eyes are wide open as to what the possibilities are, as well as what needs to happen to make those possibilities a reality. So,
Right.
we have just a couple minutes left, and if you want to say anything to wrap things up, Jay.
Yeah, do your homework.
Yes, and tomorrow we will wrap it all up and put it together. And I believe all of you should have a copy of Jay's 2021 vision that he wrote as a guide. And then there's a template that I put together that you can kind of use to fill in your own stuff. And then I also sent you a wheel of life so that you can see the different spectrums that we look at, and you can kind of use it to give yourself a rating currently and where you would like to be. So if you don't have that in your email, I believe I even sent it to you, Mr. Poplick. So let me know if you don't have it, and then I can get that to you. And we will see everybody tomorrow.
Did the links, or was that a separate email?
That it should be with everything for the link for today, and then it should have been attached to that same email. So I can send it out again if you need to.
Okay.
All right.
The other thing I would encourage you, I'll tell you whatever you want, Amber.
Oh my gosh. I muted her, so. Okay, go.
Okay, so anyway, I was gonna say, write it all out, put it on the calendar,
Yep.
and then write each section on your vision paper as if it has already happened. It has
Yep.
already occurred.
Which is what I said. There's a template that I put together last night that I emailed everybody that says exactly that. And it's separated by section.
Okay, peace out.
I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Hey everybody, it's Jay.
This is Annie.
We are so grateful for you joining us on our podcast and listening in and participating. We want to offer you this additional free bonus, and that is joining our Facebook group.
Yes, where we will have other individuals, not just us, but having conversations on all things real estate, and we would love to have you join us. So just click the link below and head on over and join our group.
Thanks guys, we'll see you on the other side.